How does one stay happy? Well, two things are apparently very important. One, don't get annoyed. And two, avoid physical pain. If you had a surgery, a broken bone, anything in your life that has caused you significant physical pain, you understand that in the moment, it is very difficult to consider yourself happy. And if you find yourself consistently annoyed in traffic, by people around you, by circumstances in life, then happiness will elude you too. Sure. But the thing that I really wanted to say is, why ask this question in the first place? Why is happiness prioritized so highly in Western society and in the world? I believe it's out of immaturity. My friend, my name is Turab. This is Turabify, where I talk about emotional intelligence and the importance of psychology and philosophy in living a more beautiful life. And this question is what I will be tackling for the next 10 or so minutes. Happiness. Happiness, happiness. How do we avoid feeling like we are going nowhere in life? How do we avoid feeling like our life is worthwhile? Many of us resort to the concept of happiness, an elation, a temporary joy, something that we can point to and say, yes, this is why we are alive. A lot of us think happiness is a thing that's going to take us away from our worries, a thing that's going to be the nth degree of where life should be. And a lot of us, I believe, are going to find out very quickly that should not be the case. Happiness, my friend, is not the most virtuous motive to live for in life. Period. Reason being, if we are so concentrated on this temporary joy, if we are so concentrated on something that will leave us the moment that we achieve it, well, we will be aiming for a high like a drug addict, like someone that is looking for more out of life all the time. In a lot of ways, satisfaction to me is a contrast to happiness. It is not similar like a cousin or anything, mainly because satisfaction is a state of mind that I believe can be maintained for much longer than being happy. In fact, logically speaking, I think aspiring for satisfaction tends to make more sense because we can say to ourselves there are multiple things in life, there are multiple states of mind that can present as satisfaction. For instance, if I say to myself that when I do X thing, I am happy, that means that whenever I'm not doing X thing, I'm not happy. Okay, fine. Let's break that. When I say that when I am feeling a certain way, I am happy. Again, that's foolish. Happiness is a fleeting, novel feeling. A lot like love to me. A lot like anger, wrath, 7 deadly sins, lust, passion, all these things. If our life goal is to hit a feeling, a consistent feeling, I would say that feeling should be satisfaction. That feeling should be something where we are okay with where we're at, because it is much likely that we will achieve that thing. And so we can say to ourselves that we are doing what we want in life. The other thing is, when it comes down to actual life satisfaction, it is my genuine belief that life satisfaction comes from being a productive member of society, being someone that actually contributes to the well-being of other human beings and potentially the philosophy of the culture around us. Meaning that we feel respected, cared for, we feel integrated, important, necessary, not superfluous. And in order for us to get to that state of mind, that ability, that belief in ourselves, if happiness is the goal, we will not get there. Because frankly speaking, a lot of the things that allow us to feel productive in society, that allow us to feel like we are important, that we have responsibility that matters, frankly speaking, we cannot afford to consistently say to ourselves that we will only do the things that make us happy. Because responsibility, a lot like if you have any children, if you have anyone that has children, if you have anyone that has a household or needs actual necessary things that they require in life to move forward, you'll realize that these people have to do things that make them not so happy necessarily. But doing these things does lead to satisfaction. So my argument is, forget the happiness thing. Forget it and you will get more of it. It's kind of like the law of attraction, something that I've been digging into more and more as I grow as an individual, as I begin to understand more and more the spiritual aspect of hard work and having purpose in life. Satisfaction comes from doing the most that is possible for your soul consistently. And if the most that's possible is trying to understand yourself, if the most that's possible is creating something that only you can make, having conversations that only you can have, then I think the better aspiration consistently is actually productivity. Productivity in this society and in the world of living creatures, I believe, is the highest value that an organism can achieve. Productive life. One that is constantly building on itself. That in itself is the answer, is the end, the journey, so to speak, or the destination, the paradox, the necessity of such a thing in life. Hopefully, at this point in the video, you have some questions. You might be thinking to yourself, well, Turab, if we are aspiring to have a life of productivity, of having a life that isn't immediately satisfying, okay, how do we find something? How do we aspire to be something that we really need to be, that potentially our souls require, that only we can do and no one else can do? How do we find the correct path of productivity? Well, I'm glad you asked. How do we find the correct path? I think for a long time, and I'm putting together a little course on this, for a long time I've thought that when we are our youngest selves, when we are children, that the novelty, the beauty of the world is seen deeper by us. The joys of the world are witnessed in a deeper way. We are necessarily going to gravitate towards situations, actions that actually inspire us and consistently have us happy, productive, enjoying life. And I think a lot of us over time, by virtue of responsibility, by virtue of role models, things in life that change our trajectory, we forget the things that we actually really enjoyed, that our souls enjoyed doing to begin with. I've advocated for this many, many times in my videos. But essentially, I think finding the right path starts with finding the correct beginning point and understanding the beginning point of our lives, of our souls. Meaning, whatever it was that inspired us, whatever feelings, whatever subjects, whatever processes inspired us, excited us when we were younger, I believe that if we can accentuate that, if we can magnify those things in our adult lives, and we can find ways to make money, to have hobbies, to surround ourselves with people that like these things, that enjoy these things, that include these things, I believe we will be happier in the end. This requires some soul searching, sure. A lot of the things I talk about here. And frankly, what is a more satisfying, what is a greater question in life than what do you want to do? Hopefully you found this interesting. Smash that thumbs up button, helps me out a lot. Throw me a comment. If you think I'm crazy, please let me know. Sometimes I think I'm crazy too, but I swear I make these videos to help people. Subscribe. I'll be making these every day, probably forever. And if you have a second, check out this video. There's an older one that I made about this purpose in life, this aspiration for productivity over happiness. Things to think about, my friend. Actualize your potential. This world needs you. Take care.